Everyone. So today I'm going to be sharing my 7 best tips to stick with your habits so that you can maintain them long term. Now, for most of my life, I struggled mightily with sticking to habits and routines. I have 5 children, 2 have disabilities. I have an autoimmune condition. I struggle with anxiety, depression, and PTSD. And so, sticking with habits consistently was always incredibly challenging for me. A lot of times, I found myself setting myself up for failure by taking on things that were too big, or I just found myself getting distracted or losing motivation to continue on with my habits. And if that is you, today I'm going to give you some incredible tips to help you consistently do your habits over the long term so you can see the results you're looking for and accomplish the goals you want in your life. If you are new here, this is Upcycled Adulting, my YouTube channel, where I am here to help you upcycle your real life into your best life. And that includes creating healthy habits, overcoming obstacles, and growing to accomplish your goals. So let's get started talking about these 7 incredible tips to help you stick to your habits long term and stop fighting with lack of motivation, which so many of us struggle with. Number one is to start really small. It's really important that we start small. A lot of times when I was struggling to stick to my habits, it's because I was setting myself up for failure by taking on too much too fast. Then I would get overwhelmed, or there'd be a little hiccup or an unexpected event in my life. And all of a sudden, next thing I knew, I was completely off track because what I was doing was too big to be able to be maintained inside the scope of my actual real life with my real life demands. Now, some of you might be a little impatient, or you might be like me and have an all or nothing perfectionist mentality. And I want to assure you that starting small or breaking your habits down into something smaller is the way to get success. Eventually, you'll work your way up to the bigger habit or the full habit, but you'll get that experience and that record of wins by starting with something that is small and doable. And then you can build on top of that. I have to tell you that if you had done this 10 years ago, you'd already have the habit that you wanted. Even if you had done this a year ago, you'd already have the habit that you want. Taking on too much doesn't get you there faster, it just sets you up for failure. If you're in a place where you're 2 weeks in or a month into your habit, by the way, 30 days does not necessarily make a habit stick, and you are struggling because you're getting thrown off course or because you're lacking motivation, I challenge you to break your habit down into a really small piece and focus first on that piece so you can build a really firm foundation to move forward in growing that habit. Number two is to get clear and specific. Listen, it's not enough to just want a habit. You have to get really clear about when you'll do it, how you'll do it, what you'll be doing, and get that into a schedule in your life. It's really important that you know exactly what's happening. It's not enough to say, I'm going to work out every day if you have no plan for what the workout will be or when you will be doing it. It's really important. Again, we're going to start really small, even if that's just getting your workout clothes on and your shoes on. We're going to start really small, but then we're going to schedule it in. We're going to put it somewhere in our life where it makes sense and where we can actually do it. And we're going to understand how that works. Now, one of the things that can be really helpful here is to get clear and specific about where you're starting, meaning, I'm just going to walk to the end of the block and back. That's where I'm starting. I'm just going to declutter this one shelf in my linen closet. That's where I'm starting. Rather than looking at a giant big picture and having some pie in the sky idea about how you're going to approach it, get really clear and really specific about it. That doesn't mean you need a long term plan. That just means you need to know for the next couple of days, this is when I'm going to do it. This is what I'm going to do, and get yourself started. Don't get too overwhelmed with, by the end of this month, I'm going to have this whole room decluttered. Because remember, we're always going to be focusing on small steps. Number three is to use reminders. So once you know when you're going to do your habit and how you're going to do it, you want to set up a reminder system. A lot of times I find that alarms work really well for me. I use the Routinely app so that I can set custom alarms for every day rather than being stuck with I always do this habit at 10 a.m. because let's be honest, my days change. I have work days and weekends and things change. But set reminders for yourself and remind yourself of your why. Remind yourself of what your purpose is. Now, do not do this in a shameful way. I used to stick pictures of like supermodels on my refrigerator. That is not going to motivate you. I don't know if y'all are aware of this, but I'm 5'4" and I'm not going to become 5'10" because I watch what I'm eating and I exercise. I'm not going to look like that. But having reminders that are, for example, inspirational quotes is really helpful for me. Maybe having a visual reminder of, I want to wear that outfit and rock it, or I want to, whatever that thing looks like. I am doing this because I want to be healthy for my family. So I put a picture of my family up to remind myself in my gym, the reason why I'm here doing this is so that I can be strong enough to play with my grandkids. Or I put a picture of Rome up because I want to be healthy enough to travel, things like that. So use reminders of your why and set reminders in your phone, in alarms, things like that, or use the Routinely app to set custom reminders that will repeat every week so you don't have to keep setting them up. Number four is stack them. Now, there are two ways actually to stack habits. One is to stack your habits with a habit that's already established and really, really simple and easy to do. Do not stack habits on top of habits that are not well established or are really huge and overwhelming. That is like the poltergeist pile of habits where it's all going to just topple down in a hot second. We want to stack our habits with things that are really simple and things that are preferably associated with the habit we're creating. Meaning, once we start putting on our shoes and our workout clothes, the next thing we would stack on there is going for that walk to the end of the street. Then the next thing we would stack on there is maybe a longer walk or maybe lifting weights, whatever that looks like for you. In addition, you might be stacking getting your workout clothes on with getting out of bed, or you might be stacking it with brushing your teeth, something you already do every single day that's really, really simple to attach that entry point to your habit into. The other way to stack habits is to pair them with things that you really love doing. If you love listening to audiobooks, for example, do that while you're going for a walk. If you love listening to podcasts, do that while you're decluttering your closet. Set that time up so that you get to do something you really enjoy and look forward to at the same time as you're doing that habit. The other way to approach this is if you are like my sisters and you struggle to focus on the audio book and the decluttering and you find that really distracting and overwhelming, then make sure that you stack a nice reward or treat, something you look forward to right after your habit. So, really, what we're talking about in stacking is what do you have at the beginning of your habit? What do you have that you're doing during your habit? And what do you have at the end of your habit? And how can you create a stack that keeps you engaged in doing your habit and committed to it? Number five is to get support. Oh my. And I don't mean get support as in get somebody who will, get on you if you're not doing it, who will tell you that you need to make it happen. Most of us actually do gravitate toward that drill sergeant type accountability. The reason why we do that is because we've conditioned ourselves that we need punishment to move. But in reality, many psychological studies have been done that show that we are much more motivated as humans by validation and encouragement and praise. Those things actually work far better than any kind of negative consequences or punishment. And to be honest, most of us punish ourselves enough. So when I say get support, what I mean is find a community like my inner circle where you can come in, you can commit to a habit, and you have people who are going to cheer you on, who are going to be excited about your success, who are going to encourage you and celebrate your wins. and who are going to lift you up and praise you, because that is a big part of where motivation comes from. And being able to get into a space where you can openly brag about yourself and you can openly share your success and your progress. And you know that you are going to have people there who won't be comparing themselves or judging you or jealous or telling you you should just add more, etc. You're going to have people there who are going to love on you and tell you what a great job you're doing really matters. And on the days that you're struggling, this is a community of people that are going to also support you, also cheer you on, remind you to give yourself grace, remind you to reassess, remind you to break it down smaller, give you suggestions about how to do it. They're going to support you continuing to work on your habit in the way that works best for you and prevent you from falling into that pit of punishment and despair. Number 6 is get curious. And this is part of what I was referring to in the get support when I said, when you're missing it, having people who will help you figure out what's going on there or break it down smaller, things like that. Get curious and figure out what's happening. Why is this not working? Instead of just assuming that you're not disciplined enough or that you're too lazy or that you're not committed, get curious about what's going on in your day. Is this not the right time of day? Have you set yourself up with too big of a habit? Is there some other distraction in your life? Are you fearful? Are you afraid of failing or afraid of success? Or are you struggling with the change? Understanding what might be happening for you here is really important because then you can troubleshoot the actual problem. You are not the problem. Something else is happening in your day, in your schedule, in your life that's interfering. And being able to figure out what that is and address it so that you can accommodate yourself and set yourself up for success really matters. Again, Inner Circle is great for this. We also have an incredible workshop called Be Brave in there to help you address fears you may be experiencing. And I would definitely recommend getting in the Routinely app here. I've created it so that you can identify patterns through our stats portion where it'll tell you things like this category of habits is a struggle for you. This time of day is a struggle for you. And that way you can really troubleshoot what's happening for you. Because I'm telling you, it's not that you're too lazy or undisciplined. It's figuring out what the barriers are or the obstacles are and removing them so that you can be committed to your habits. And number 7 is, as always, celebrate your wins. Track your progress. You can use the app for that or whatever other tool you have. Track your progress and celebrate your wins. And I don't mean just setting up rewards for when you've done it a certain number of times in a row. I mean being aware, keeping an accomplishment journal, being proud of yourself, and really supporting yourself in the process of changing what you're doing, right? Change is hard. And understanding that on day 5 or on day 15 or on day 45, you may need a little bit of extra hype or a little extra celebration or a little reward to help you stay encouraged and inspired. It's okay. I want you to know that that is normal and that that's to be expected. And giving yourself the space to really celebrate yourself, celebrate your wins, shout from the rooftop that you're proud of yourself matters. If you haven't yet, you may want to check out my video about self-care and love languages because that will help you figure out how to best celebrate yourself in your habit journey. Do not forget to subscribe to this channel. I am absolutely committed to helping you build the life you have been dreaming about because the truth is, you are absolutely amazing and you deserve it. Bye, everyone.